for being here. Are 30 years that I present Biotransenergetics, so I will try to be a little bit original, even though you are listening for the first time, but I am speaking for 30 years, so I will try to help you to follow the process I did to create Biotransenergetics and to follow, to enter, to feel the smell of the scent of Biotransenergetics. Because it was a process that is always running, is still running, and is something that happens to me. I think that I don't know how I create everything this, and I don't know, I am still learning from what I create, because if you will see, it's a complete methodology as an ontology, which is a vision of the world, which share with the perennial philosophy, as an epistemology, doesn't mean as a map that say, we think that this is the game, and there's a methodology that say, so we play this game in this way, you know? And there's several practice, a lot of practice integrated that come from Brazilian shamanism, that come from Native America, that come from somewhere in the cosmos. So, this is okay. To create something, you have to be very presumptuous, very egoic, as I hope I were. In the early 80s, I was a medical doctor, doing encounter group and bioenergetics and gestalt and acupuncture and homeopathy and shiatsu and autogenic training. And so, but I felt something was missing. I met my first wife, Brazilian, psychic, and I went to Brazil, which I didn't like at all. Brazil, macumba, samba, what is that? Carnival. I went there, I looked into macumba, this ritual, and was so, the first time I got a place with this ritual of macumba, I entered very judgmental, just saying to myself, what I am doing here, with these people dancing and the incense and the drumming and the picture of different entities on the walls. And at certain time, the priestess called me and started to give me the passes, something like this, and I started to shake, my whole body started shaking, and I felt down, and I heard the voice saying, now you are at home, you have your guide, stand up. I stood up and watching the same people that before I was judging and so separate with them. They were brother and sister. I saw in their eyes myself and this unity consciousness, that they say, this mitakoyazin, everything is interconnected, we are all one, and so. So to me, this was the moment in which Biotransenergetics was born, and it was the 1982. I couldn't forget this experience when I came in Italy, doing my work. No. Nothing but love. What happens? I just disappear to myself. I just enter the field. If you know any perennial philosophy tradition, all them say something like this, no? Including the Christianism, the Atman, the self, the supreme consciousness, everything is love. Psyche also. Psyche is love. But this. So, if we have this experience to pass from the ego to the self, the love, your life changed. My life changed. Since I had the psychotherapist in training, looking around, I didn't find something that could help me to this. So I worked, I made my own dress, I started building up. But this process of building up was just a process coming from here, from the source, from the self. And when I guess that all of you, or I hope all of you, had one of these experiences. If we have this experience, we can't forget anymore. And we are obliged. Jung speaks about the obligation of the awareness. No? If you are aware of something, you can't forget anymore. You have to act as if this is the game. So the process started. I told you we have in Biotransenergetics several maps, epistemological maps, and several keys of awareness. This is one of the keys of awareness. That is something that you have in your pocket, you can use. I named this shamanic triad because to me, when this happens, you get that place, you get the self, the source. Everything you can do, everything practice, every practice, every methodology you can do. If you do this, you get the place. And what is to do this? To pass through the zero, to disappear to yourself. You see, the black line is the problem, the conflict, or even your thought, or your emotion, or your thinking, any content you face. The red arrow is the force coming from the source. The force, life force, the self. And the zero is what we have to do. If you disappear to the content, just the force of the self brings you. We can say that this, as I told you, is one of the basic key that we use in Biotransenergetics. First of all, we try to do this. But the interesting is that this is not a practice. It's a key. Does it mean it's something that you realize? Because many of you certainly do meditation. But if I stay in contact and I watch my breath as Vipassana, for example, if I do this as a practice to reach something, for example, to become more quiet, or to, now they use mindfulness in the companies, to be less stressed and perform better, so you take a drug the same. So practice meditation doesn't mean be in meditation. If the play is, as I told you, we are always at the source, we are always embraced by the self. We have just to realize, and to realize we have not to do anything. Of course, is a contradiction. Do anything, doing without doing. Yes? We try to do this for a little moment if you want. We close our eyes, please. When I say do nothing, I say be aware that we are at home. Be aware that everything you can think, everything you can feel, everything you can do is happening in this field, that is the field of the self, of the force, of the cosmos. Be aware you are at home. And if something brings you somewhere, just zero. Let it go. Let it do what. Don't try to observe your breath or to imagine that your thinking are as clouds or everything else. Just give you an opportunity to get that you are at home. And just say zero to everything you feel, experience. And since this is not a practice, we can open eyes and stay in this state. Because it doesn't finish. When I open my eyes, I am still at home. In our life, we do meditate. If you are a little more evoluted, we do meditation twice per day, maybe, and then we go to work. We are separate, yes. I am at home now. I am at home now. I am at home. I am at home. Try to go ahead in this conversation, being aware we are at home. Because everything changes. And we are the only responsible of this. If we forget that we are at home, the world changes. The game we are playing changes, became divided, which is not. If we stay at home, aware to be at home, we are embraced by the field of the self. When we stay in this state, because of course we can just stay in this state and stay on the cave in Himalaya, but when you go into the world, doing something, for example, psychotherapist, we can get any information being there. For example, one of the information we can get is that everything is interconnected. And of course we can read on the book of Erwin Laszlo, of David Bohm, of Buddhism, everything is interconnected. But we can live in every moment that everything is interconnected. Everything is interconnected means everything is as a rhythm and flows. Everything flows in a rhythm. If we feel something good, if we understand each other, is because we are flowing in the same rhythm, as Laszlo said yesterday. If we don't understand each other, if we feel uncomfortable, we are not flowing in the same rhythm. This is an evidence. We can experiment this every time. This is scientific. Because we can falsificate this. Try to falsificate this. Ask for the mainstream to falsificate this. You can't. Everything is interconnected and flows in a rhythm. When I flow with the rhythm, I am blessed by the grace. I feel in harmony. I feel in contact with myself. So I don't need to do something, meditation, breath work, ayahuasca. If I am not, I can do something to get. But the best thing I can do is be aware that I always are. As I told you, every tradition say this. Everything is interconnected. Everything is a polarity with the rhythm. The Mahamudra of the Tantra, the Tao, the swastika. You know the swastika is the oldest symbol. Let's say this. And the cross also. Because if we don't keep the cross in a static way and we let the cross flow, the cross becomes the swastika. And also the Solomon sigil symbol, the mother and the father, the male and the female. This is the play. When you do this, we are flowing with the life. You know, this self, which I also can call God, the supreme consciousness, with its spirits, angels, entities, masters, gurus, say this to us since the beginning of the time. But we still forgot. We still work as if it's not. We agree. But when you do practice to get something, which is a contradiction. So Biotransenergetics starts from this ontology, from this epistemology, and create several maps and practice to try to do nothing, to try to just to be. Because we are so, as the first imagine, we are so narcissistic, egoic, or the contrary, we feel guilt and we feel inferior or superior. Is the same. Is the same. This is Ken Wilber, who takes this from Plotino, who take this from Plato, who take this from Veda, Brahman is the word is Brahman. The matter is the spirit is the matter. Again, yesterday Laszlo told us this, starting from the scientific point of view. 50,000, 5,000 years ago, the Veda told this. The way up, the way down. We can say the eros push us doing the ego of the man that created Biotransenergetics. The eros, the will, the fire. The fire for the other sex, the fire for everything. The fire to be the best. Yes, go. Be yourself. Follow the arrows. The red arrows. Following the arrows, you go out. And you can, but be aware that you are nothing. The agape, the love we saw before, the love descending. The agape, so the first picture, the self, the love, the zero, is working in two senses. The eros go out and the agape go down. You see? The reflux of eros and the outflow of agape. So we can say Biotransenergetics is a methodology to stay into this grace, the eros, agape. And if the eros doesn't go up, if you follow the phobos, the fear. If you stay in the fear, for example, fear to be too much egoic, the fear to be judged, the fear to do something wrong, and so your eros and the agape doesn't go down for thanatos. Instead of flow, hold. Instead of let flow your agape, your compassion, your love for the other, you hold. If you think how our life, the love in our life is lived, no, it's something that we want to get. And you are afraid to give because I don't know, but maybe I lose something. This is thanatos. Our life is controlled by phobos and thanatos, the fear and you would say the greed, or no, the will to hold. Our society is built on this. Everything is control. Is everything in get something and reach something, even love. So Biotransenergetics try to work on phobos and thanatos to let eros and agape make his work as we did before. You stay at home and you feel the eros flowing and the agape blessing you. In every moment this is happening. We should dare more in our life. We are transpersonal, but we don't act actually in a transpersonal way because our mind, our thinking is still thinking of the poor little man working to get something, afraid to lose something, or willing to reach something. Biotransenergetics try to, no. This is another key for Biotransenergetics, in Biotransenergetics, the further mode. We should act in a further mode, not in ordinary way we do, controlled by the fear and by the greed. A further mode put the attention on the forgotten side. For example, if I want to be loved, love. No? On the stage there is I want love. On the backstage there is all the love you want. So offer your love and we'll reach. And so on for everything. I am speaking in this moment and you are listening. But also the contrary. If I want to speak something to get you, I should stay in contact with my silence. If you are in silence, you also are speaking. Your agape is flowing. I can say something useful to you because you are well disposed to me. And you are well disposed because maybe I am doing something that is interesting. Everything. We can always, we can do the zero as I told before. We can be aware of the further mode. Always, in every moment, there is a stage and the backstage. The complementary part. But always we fall into the illusion to be aware only on there is on the stage, and we forgot what there is on the backstage. That is a complementary, of course. If I am afraid, for example, I am afraid, so the problem is your fear, and you fight or you do something for the fear. But if you are afraid, if I am afraid to fall, means that I get the place to fly, for example. No? So, how many? Oh, you know? So, okay. You are not only afraid, you are around to fly. Further mode, you know how could be useful, as important to you, be always in the zero and in further mode. I am around to fly. I am not afraid. Both. I am afraid, but I am around to fly, so I can fly. These were just a little hint of Biotransenergetics, 2 of several maps. We have 8 awareness map. But I thank you.